Welcome back to the SSL Family Dad channel. We are down in the garden today. Today's video is sponsored by Teemu, the bargain website out there that's taken the world by storm over the last few years. We'll have more on that later. One of the biggest problems that I have in the garden, season after season, is keeping everything watered, especially as I've expanded this garden and made it big enough where my one fan sprinkler can't quite manage everything. One of the main things I want to do today is add a new watering system. So I've got several new sprinklers. We've got a bunch of new homestead equipment and gardening tools and things we're going to show you today. The garden has taken a beating this year with some storms and things. We've got corn blowing over and some things doing really well. Potatoes have done really well. A lot of our peas and beans have been eaten by rabbits because my fencing isn't finished. But overall, we've done pretty well. We've got some things harvested already, and we'll have more to come, and we'll do a mid-season replanting today. A lot of things didn't grow very well. We see a lot of grass in these rows, so we'll replant some of that. But the problem that I have, I've got a hose running down all the way from up there. It runs down the hill through the yard, and I usually put one fan sprinkler. So the fan sprinkler that I have is the Augur metal invincible sprinkler that I've used for many years. I have two of them actually. I bought a bigger one to try to cover this space, and I had the old one is there. It still works, but the problem is that this fan sprinkler really only covers about from the second invisible trellis there all the way this way from that edge of the garden about to the aisle. And I really need to cover obviously more. I can't, there's no way this sprinkler is getting all the way down to the tomatoes in that corner, and it's definitely not getting all the way up here to the peppers in this corner. So hence all of the new purchases. We have a bunch of new fun things from Teemu. This is a couple real inexpensive sprinklers that I can spread the three of these plus the oscillating system in different areas of the garden and hopefully cover the garden better, or at least make it so I only have to move one of these sprinklers. We've got some of this stainless steel hosing, which I really like. I'm excited to use this. I think this will last a lot longer. A lot of my hoses end up getting kinked or broken out in the sun, and so these things should be a lot tougher out here. We've got a few splitters. I'll probably use this one, and I might need this one as well. Got some other adapters, hose adapters. This is always handy stuff to have around when we're moving things around the garden. And a bunch of these little extras that we got. These are little trellis little clips that you can put around your supports for peppers and other kinds of things. We've got a few of these that could use a couple supports on them, so we'll add a few clips. These are nice because they're easy to take on and off, and I can reuse these year after year. Here's the deal. Gardening and homesteading in general is expensive. It starts as a hobby. It turns into a lifestyle, and there's always new things that you need. There's a lot of required things. You need hoses, you need faucets, you need hose splitters, you need sprinklers, you need to water things, you need gardening tools, you need a lot of things that you can get and make yourself, and a lot of things you need to buy. So how can we keep this cheap? How can we keep this as cheap as possible and still be able to get good gardening done? Well, let's get this sprinkling hose fitting system spread out in the garden here and see what we can do and what we can reach, get it fired up, and see what kind of coverage we get out of these little sprinklers. This is why I hate hose fittings. I'm out here, I want to move things around, and now I need to go find a tool, put this on here because I can't get this apart. Well, we've got a lot of room to cover here. I do have the fan sprinkler, and I do have 3 of these. I have to find a way to spread them all out in here, and I think I'm short a piece or 2 of hose to get them. I've got 1 out there, I've got 1 up there, I've got 1 here, and I think I can put the fan sprinkler back in this area. You can never have enough hoses on a homestead, but a lot of times I have a lot of hoses, but they're broken. So let's get some old hoses fixed up. Well, I have a lot of hoses around here that I've run over, broken, cracked, cut on accident, all kinds of things. So I have one here that had a damaged spot in it. I ran it over, it was on the driveway, and it actually caused a couple leaks to be in the tubing. So we just need to fix this. One of the best homesteading hacks I ever realized was that you can make your own length of hosing. So you can get these, there's all kinds of different ones. These ones here are for actually a smaller hose style, and then these ones here are for a larger hose. I think this is a 5/8 or maybe a 3/4. You get this kit, comes with, you know, hose clamps, and it comes with a bunch of different male and female hose adapters. So we're just going to need to make 2 extra pieces of hose, and so we need the male side on this. So it's pretty easy to fix. It's a barbed hose connection. Sometimes it's easier if you have a heat gun to heat the hose up a little bit, but we'll see if we can get this in here without doing that. And these will work for years. I like these fittings because they have the octagon, the 8-sided fitting, so you can put a bit of pliers on there, channel lock or something like that. Helps you get these fittings apart when they're stuck, which is another problem I have a lot with hoses, but we've got a solution for that with all of our gear we got here today as well. That'll be leak free for years. These are frustrating because we have very hard, rusty water. All these fittings just get locked up. They're real hard to get apart. Look at all that calcium buildup and stuff coming off these things. All those minerals and stuff, they like cement these fittings together. It's horrible. So this will solve some of my problems. I think it'll be a good idea to put a new one of those in there. So now I have a shut off here, so I can keep the water pressure on while I'm down here if I want to move something around. And we've got a quick connect. These will go out to the sprinklers in the garden. Look at that, it's beautiful. Okay, I really like these sprinklers. Look at that. So I've got 2 of them running right now. So there's a water pressure issue if I have all the sprinklers running. Obviously, they shrink their zones down real small. But I like this. Looks like I can actually, I've got my 4-way here and I've got the 2-way up there. I might switch these around. I think I have another plan that might work better, but I like this setup. I can use these little sprinklers, so I have areas that I want to keep wet. These tomatoes, some of these are doing really good, some of them not so great, but I've got a lot of tomatoes on these. I want to make sure that these get the rest of the season, they stay nice and wet, especially tomatoes, they like it wet. And I've got a lot of stuff up here still growing. I've got some peas growing. I've got some cucumbers over there that I'm going to try to revitalize a little bit, some zucchini and some beans and things like that. These potatoes, I want to keep these wet. These aren't ready to be harvested yet. But up here, a lot of this stuff was a fail. I had a lot of crops that didn't do real well. I've got radishes I can harvest, but this stuff's all going to get replanted, but I don't need to water that today. I don't need to water that right now, so I can keep this one off. And I've got some popcorn and I've got some zucchini. These here are going to start producing. These got tons of flowers on them. I just harvested a couple off these, but these will keep going for the rest of the year. And some of these peppers are doing well, some aren't, but I want to keep these wet as well so I can turn this one on down here. So this gives me the opportunity to come down here and turn on whichever sprinklers I want. But I think it would be nice to move the 4-way out of the garden. That way I could sit out of the garden and turn any one of the 4 on. Because right now, if I turn one of these off, this one's going to start getting me all soaking wet. So let me see if I move some things around. Let's make this easier. Now I'm going to use one of those quick connects here for sure, because whenever I mow the grass, I have to take this hose off. So I want to be able to just disconnect that real quick and then get this hose out of the way and then reconnect this when I'm ready to water the garden again. So I want a quick connect on the end of this, and then we'll put the 4-way here, and we'll move some hoses around and see if we can make this a little easier. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Look at that. Actually, I want a quick connect fitting here. So we'll take these two. We'll put one on here. I should have ordered more of these. These are amazing. I wish I would have ordered 20 of these things. Quick connect there and there. Take it off of this one, I guess. Oh. Well, so much for staying dry. It'd be nice if I had a shut-off valve right here before this, because if I disconnect this right now, obviously it's going to spray water everywhere. So I have to go up to the house, turn the water off before I can disconnect this, but that's not a big deal. And we can connect that. These ones don't need a quick connect because these will both stay connected. I'm going to turn these two sprinklers on as a set. So now we've got this far zone getting some water, and we've got this zone, and these are overlapping a little bit, so I could probably spread them out. That's getting back to about right in here somewhere. The fan sprinkler will cover all of this area, including the raised beds, and then we've got one more over here to cover into these, this side of the corn and up in this quadrant. So now I can just come out here, turn off those ones, turn on the next one. So if I leave just this one on, it covers a pretty big area. I mean, that's covering all the way into here and all the way out into the grass. I could probably move that one even into a different place. But if I turn on the fan sprinkler at the same time, it gets a lot smaller. So then they'll both cover this end of the garden. So I've got the two down there that cover that end, and I've got the two up here that will cover this end. Before I show you the rest of the haul, the rest of the things that I got for the garden, I want to talk about today's sponsor, the sponsor of today's video, which is Teemu, the website that a lot of people have been talking about. Their website is basically, think of kind of a cross between a Walmart and a Harbor Freight online. Teemu has a lot of things for cheap, and that is very helpful to keeping things moving around the homestead. We always need little bits and pieces and tools and things to keep us going. Teemu keeps things cheap by doing a lot of direct to manufacturer, so they cut out a lot of middle people, and it's a no-frills shopping experience. They've got a lot of games and other things to try to win different discounts and stuff. They have a lot of timed deals. There's a lot of deals you can catch on there if you spend some time on their site, and they don't waste any money on shipping. They take everything that you have ordered, they throw it in a bundle, they wrap it in plastic and tape, they slap an address on that bad boy, and they ship it over here. Teemu definitely is going to give you the best price. So if you can order ahead and wait a little bit, you're going to get a little bundle like I did, and it'll roll right down to the garden for you and unwrap itself. One of the things that I have found to be the best gardening investments is raised beds. Raised beds are always my favorite. They are always the best. They always do the best. Everything I have grown in the raised beds. Look at these potatoes. I put the potato in the ground and I water this thing, and these things have just been the best growth. I can concentrate my soil, compost, and you can grow things in here just so much better. But raised beds can be expensive. So we have some very inexpensive raised beds. This is a 4 foot by 2 foot by 1 foot deep. These are very basic galvanized corrugated steel raised beds that are super easy to put together, and every year I will continue to add more. So I'll probably run one in here this year, and then maybe next year we'll add another one in front of it, maybe a couple more back there. So, well, these little clips you can get, you can 3D print these. It does take a little bit of time, but there's like 150 of them in here. I think this was a couple bucks, maybe less. And for things like this, I've got some corn here that has gotten blown over. These little clips here, they have a little connector, so you can actually clip that together just like that. You can either put your stake right through the smaller one and then have your plant on the outside, or vice versa, depending on how big your plant is. That'll help to support your plants, and these things are real easy to remove in at the end of the season. So you can use these for tomatoes, obviously peppers, anything you need to support with these smaller stakes. Almost forgot one more little toy. This is the garden auger, I think they call it. So this can help you transplant things in the springtime. So if you've got, say, 100 tomato plants, instead of digging all your holes, you can just auger out a quick hole, put your plant in there, bury it in, and you're ready to go. Then go on to the next one. So this is the garden auger. Goes right on drill. Pretty sweet. Well, we'll pull a few beautiful pieces of fresh produce out of the garden today. This is a little zucchini that we pulled out. We've got some peppers growing in here. At least we'll get something out of this garden yet. Just a little update today on the garden. We have some good and some bad. We have some pretty things and some ugly things, but at least we have a watering system in place. And I tell you what, if I could recommend anything that out of anything that I have here that I showed you today, it would be the quick connects for those hoses and those stainless steel hoses. Those things are awesome. Let me know what you guys think. Any tips to keep rabbits out of the garden without having a fence? Other than shooting them all, I guess I could do that. Let me know what you guys think. Thumbs up on today's video. Of course, links to everything that I showed you guys today in the description if you want to check any of that stuff out. Check out that Teemu site. I'll put a link to that as well. If there's any discounts or offers they have for you guys, I want to share that with you so you can get a little bit extra off your next homestead garden purchase. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one. Okay. Try again. Honey,